Okay, what's your first name then? John. John.
Does that voice sound familiar? That was Donald Trump posing over the phone as an executive from the Trump Organization. He called himself John Barron.
Most of the assets have been consolidated to Mr. Trump.
The call was recorded back in May 1984 by then Forbes magazine reporter Jonathan Greenberg, who is now sharing it first with the Washington Post. Greenberg says the fictitious Trump Organization executive, John Barron, was to convince him that Donald Trump was rich enough to earn a higher spot on the Forbes 400, a list ranking America's richest people.
Are you saying that perhaps for tax purposes the ownership has been transferred to Donald Trump?
Correct. That's correct.
Okay, and would you say, in excess of 90% of the ownership, I believe?
I'd say in excess of 90. In fact, well, it's really closer to even the ultimate, but it's in excess of 90%, yes.
He figured out what he had to do in order to deceive me and get onto that list. And he did it very well.
In the end, Forbes estimated Trump's 1984 net worth to be about $400 million, earning him a higher spot on the list.
He lied about his father, that he owned all of his father's assets. He didn't own any of them till his father died in 1999.
Greenberg said Trump, posing as Barron, spoke with a slightly stronger New York accent and switched up the rhythm of his voice.
I'd like to talk to you off the record if I can, just to make your thing easier.
CNN has reached out to the White House for comment about this recording, but so far, no response. Trump, meanwhile, has been hiding behind fake names for decades. Back in 1980, Trump, apparently also acting as John Barron, gave the New York Times this quote after Trump, the developer, had smashed 2 sculptures at a demolition site in New York instead of giving them to a museum as promised. Notice the source is John Barron. Turns out, in a 1990 lawsuit, Trump himself reportedly admitted under oath that on occasion he has used that name. In the heat of the 2016 campaign, another alter ego resurfaced. The Washington Post published an old interview with Trump posing as a publicist named John Miller, a name he appeared to use so he could handle media calls. Like this one with a People magazine reporter asking about Trump's breakup with girlfriend Marla Maples.
He's somebody that has a lot of options, and he gets called by everybody. He gets called by everybody in the book in terms of women.
Trump later told People magazine it was just a joke. But then on NBC, this.
It was not me on the phone, and it doesn't sound like me on the phone.
An audio forensic expert disputed that.
I'm confident that it's Donald Trump.
John Miller, John Barron, whatever the name, seems they all lead back to Donald Trump. Randy Kay, CNN, Palm Beach, Florida.
Joining me now is Trump biographer Michael D'Antonio. I mean, Michael, this is just kind of bizarre that he would have done this. I mean, it shows the extent to which he wanted, to be seen as being incredibly rich and getting his name in the paper and bragging about, women he had been with and stuff. I mean, the blatant lying, though, by citizen Trump, from owning the family business to his net worth to where some of his buildings were actually located, it goes beyond just embellishment to outright fabrications.
Well, right, and I guess this is how we get to a president who's now told 2,000 lies during his time in office. Listening to that, you wonder if John Barron and John Miller were separated at birth, because they sure do sound like the same guy. And he'll present this, people will present him with these audio recordings, and he'll deny that it's him, even after he's admitted it's him. It's really impossible to follow and kind of crazy making.
It's interesting, though, because a lot of the lies he has told in the past and even, nowadays, they require you to be an idiot. I mean, they're sort of based on the idea that the person listening is just dumb and doesn't put the pieces together. I mean, they're so sort of obvious at times that, saying he wasn't making fun of a disabled person when he was, people, you could see with your own eyes what he was doing.
Well, was determined to convince James Comey that he wasn't making fun of the reporter. It is him almost demanding you believe something so fantastic and so ludicrous that I think the listener winds up thinking, well, am I crazy to be thinking about this? Did he really just say that his father gave all of his wealth to him, and now instead of being worth $5 million, he's worth $400 million. You got to give the guy credit for audacity. He's got incredible amounts of chutzpah, and he's not even Jewish.
As long as you were profiling him, has he always been like this?
Oh yes, this is Donald really going back to his school days. When he was a boy, he insisted to others that he had hit home runs he had never hit in ball games. He left the New York Military Academy declaring himself the greatest baseball player in New York State, and it just went on and on and on. He was named the ladies' man at a school that had no young women at it. So you tell me, he has been doing this forever.
Right. That's impressive. Michael D'Antonio, thanks very much. Up next, the breaking news out of North Korea. State-run TV is reporting that Kim Jong-un has said the country no longer needs nuclear or missile tests. This comes ahead of his summit with President Trump. We'll talk about that. Some skepticism, of course, some caution, but it is a stunning development. We'll get all the latest on it when we continue.